Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Wednesday, April 6, 2016. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. We did not get to a 13 sell signal here because we rolled over a bit for the session. We gapped down and closed lower, so nothing new to discuss in terms of the count. We did recycle we did flip the 1 through 9 startup phase, so we're not going to get a recycle on that seeker count. The 11 is there in place. We do start to tick up a couple of up days, and we'll have a 13 in place for the sell signal. So just be aware of that. That kind of traps the market. I think makes it hard for it to go up. At the same time, it doesn't really have the exhaustion signal yet. Makes it hard for it to go down. And guess what you get? Not a lot of action, which is what we've been seeing the last couple of days. Very flat. All right, let's go through everything. Crude oil up 80 cents to 36.50. Gold up $13.70. S&P cash index lost 21 points or so. You'll see the gap when I go over to the intraday action. NDX down 41. Stocks down 4. Biotech's down 9 for the session. The VIX gained 130. Now remember that buy signal on the VIX a couple days ago. This is starting to curl up like it should off of that signal. Of course, that should also lead to more volatility, and we're not yet getting it. The trend closed at 1.09. That brings the 10-day moving average to 1.19, which is not really a signal either. NASDAQ volume, once again, 1.55 billion shares, which is very light. We've been suffering from light volume for 3 weeks now. This is not an improvement at all. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ, negative 1164. That means there were 1,164 more stocks down than up. On the New York, it was negative 1244, so bad market breadth. Here's a look at Google, down 650, which is just a blip. Doesn't show you anything new on Google. Here's Apple down $1.31. Basically gave back what it had picked up the day before. Amazon down 7 as they come into the launch next week of their new Kindle Voyage e-reader version 2, I guess maybe 3 really. I think they're going to call it the Voyage 2. We'll see what that does for that stock. Netflix up 59 measly cents. All right. Let's take a look at the intraday action. Really boring session, but there were a couple of things to note. If we gap down, first of all, and you'll notice within 3 or 4 candles, we got the 13 Comer buy signal, and look what that did. That led to a little run up in the market right off of that signal perfectly. Also note the risk line, the pink risk line. That's the floor now for this for the futures for the day. So the signal did exactly what it was supposed to do. Unfortunately, that's all you got was the gap down, the push, the signal, the curl up off that signal. The rest of the day was spent inside of that small range. That's only about a third of average daily range. ES trades about 26 points per day from high to low. It did not come close to that today. Meanwhile, the NASDAQ futures also got a 13 buy signal on the day around the same time. That's what helped obviously propel the market higher early, but did not fill the gap, also did nothing else. That was the entire range for the day in that move. So signal worked, but everything else was pretty uneventful. All right, so what does that leave us for Wednesday, which is tomorrow, and then we'll come back and deal with Thursday and Friday at a later point in time. In terms of economic data, very mild. We've got the MBA mortgage index at 7 a.m. Eastern time. We've got crude oil inventories an hour in. We've got the Fed minutes released from the last Fed meeting at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That can move the market if there's anything in there that they're not used to. Then we've got still some data left, but minor data left for Thursday, and not really much on Friday. Remember, next week is options expiration, but in April, that's not a major one. We're also about to enter core earnings season. That may be part of the holdup here. Next week, we'll start to see some of the bigger companies release earnings. And as you know, the core 8 days of core earnings, as we like to call them here, from one Tuesday until the following Thursday, so 8 trading days, tend to be kind of slow. And we may be waiting to see some announcements and see if any of these companies have guidance going forward. So that may be part of the problem right now. At any rate, let's hope we get a couple days here of good action on the markets. So we've got Wednesday to look forward to at this point, and then Thursday. But I'm not, my scans, which I already ran, not turning up a lot. So we'll just have to call it from the tape and hope we can find something. This was probably one of the slowest days I've seen so far this year. We only had 1 stock trigger, and that's very unusual. Usually we have 5 at a minimum. So 1 is a sleeper. All right, charts as usual brought to you by eSignal 12. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks in the lab. Hope to see you in there. Have a great trading day.